Wasteland, by T. S. Eliot. T. S. Eliot's introduction. T. S. Eliot 1888–1965 was an American-born poet, playwright, and literary critic who became one of the most influential voices of the 20th century. Eliot's literary career began in the early 20th century, during a period of intense social, cultural, and artistic upheaval in Europe and the United States. His poetry and criticism helped to shape the modernist movement, which sought to break with traditional forms and conventions in art and literature. Eliot's work is known for its erudition, its innovative use of language and form, and its exploration of themes such as disillusionment, fragmentation, and the search for meaning in a rapidly changing world. Throughout his life, Eliot remained committed to the power of literature to illuminate the complexities of human experience and to help us find our way in an uncertain world. Context. The Wasteland is a modernist poem by T. S. Eliot, first published in 1922. The poem is widely regarded as one of the most important works of modernist literature and is known for its complex and fragmented structure, as well as its multiple allusions to literature, mythology, and religion. The poem is divided into 5 sections: The Burial of the Dead, A Game of Chess, The Fire Sermon, Death by Water, and What the Thunder Said. The poem's themes include disillusionment with post-World War I society, the breakdown of traditional values, and the search for spiritual renewal. The poem is set in a post-war wasteland, where the narrator describes a world in which people are disconnected from each other and from themselves. The poem is full of references to mythology, literature, and religion, and it is often difficult to discern a clear narrative thread. The poem is famous for its use of fragmentation, multiple narrators, and shifting points of view. It is also known for its rich imagery and its use of language, which ranges from the highly poetic to the colloquial and even obscene. Section 01. The Burial of the Dead. Line 01–07. April is the cruelest month, breeding. Lilacs out of the dead land, mixing. Memory and desire, stirring. Dull roots with spring rain. Winter kept us warm, covering. Earth in forgetful snow, feeding. A little life with dried tubers. Explanation. These lines are the opening of T. S. Eliot's poem, The Wasteland, and are considered among the most famous lines of modernist poetry. The first line, April is the cruelest month, breeding, is paradoxical because April is typically associated with spring and new life, but here it is portrayed as cruel. This sets the tone for the poem, which explores the theme of disillusionment and the breakdown of traditional values. The second line, lilacs out of the dead land, mixing, suggests that even in the midst of decay and death, there is the potential for new growth and beauty. The image of the lilacs represents the possibility of renewal and regeneration. The third line, memory and desire, stirring, suggests that spring brings not just physical change but also emotional change. Memories and desires that have been dormant during the winter are awakened by the new season. The fourth line, dull roots with spring rain, further reinforces the theme of renewal and regeneration. The spring rain awakens the roots that have been dormant during the winter, suggesting that there is potential for growth even in the midst of despair. The fifth line, winter kept us warm, covering, suggests that even though winter is associated with death and decay, it also provided a sense of comfort and security. The line, earth in forgetful snow, feeding, suggests that the snow has covered the earth and made it forgetful, or dormant, during the winter months. This imagery is a reflection of the idea that winter is a time of death and dormancy, where nature seems to be in a state of hibernation or slumber. The next line, a little life with dried tubers, suggests that even in the midst of winter's death, there is still a small amount of life present. The dried tubers are a type of root vegetable that can survive through the winter months, and thus are a symbol of survival and resilience. This idea of life persisting even in the midst of death is a recurring theme throughout the poem. Line No. 08–12. Summer surprised us, coming over the Starnberger Sea. With a shower of rain, we stopped in the colonnade. And went on in sunlight, into the Hofgarten. And drank coffee, and talked for an hour. Bin gar keine Russin, stam, aus Litauen, echt Deutsch. Explanation. The first line of the stanza, Summer surprised us, coming over the Starnberger Sea, introduces a sense of dislocation and disorientation. The arrival of summer is unexpected and surprising, which is unusual as summer is typically associated with positive and predictable changes. The use of the Starnberger Sea, a lake in southern Germany, adds to this sense of dislocation by suggesting a location that is unfamiliar or foreign. The second line, with a shower of rain, we stopped in the colonnade, reinforces the sense of dislocation and uncertainty. The shower of rain interrupts the narrator's journey, forcing them to seek shelter in a colonnade, a covered walkway. The colonnade, a common architectural feature of ancient Greece and Rome, is a symbol of civilization and order, which contrasts with the sense of chaos and dislocation in the poem. The following lines, and went on in sunlight, into the Hof garden, and drank coffee, and talked for an hour, suggest that the narrator and their companion continue their journey despite the rain, finding solace in the simple pleasures of life. However, even in these moments of comfort, there is a sense of detachment and disorientation. The fact that the conversation is not specified adds to this sense of ambiguity and uncertainty. The final line, bin gar keine Russin, Stam, aus Litauen, echt Deutsch, is spoken by a female speaker and adds to the sense of dislocation and fragmentation in the poem. The line means, I am not Russian at all, I come from Lithuania, I am a genuine German. The speaker's identity is uncertain and the fact that she has to clarify her identity suggests a sense of confusion and displacement. Line number 13 to 18. And when we were children, staying at the Archduke's. My cousins, he took me out on a sled. And I was frightened. He said, Marie. Marie, hold on tight. And down we went. In the mountains, there you feel free. I read, much of the night, and go south in the winter. Explanation. The first two lines, and when we were children, staying at the Archduke's, my cousins, he took me out on a sled, introduce the theme of memory and nostalgia. The narrator recalls a childhood memory of riding on a sled with their cousin, which is a common and relatable experience. The mention of the Archduke suggests a setting of privilege and luxury, which is contrasted with the later themes of decay and loss. The line, and I was frightened. He said, Marie, Marie, hold on tight. And down we went, introduces a sense of danger and risk-taking. The narrator is frightened, but their cousin reassures them and they both go down the hill on the sled. This image suggests a sense of liberation and freedom, as they are able to let go and experience the thrill of the moment. The following line, in the mountains, there you feel free, reinforces the idea of freedom and liberation. The mountains are often associated with nature and the outdoors, and in this context, they represent a space where one can escape the constraints of society and experience a sense of freedom. The final line, I read, much of the night, and go south in the winter, introduces the theme of isolation and loneliness. The narrator spends much of the night reading, suggesting a sense of detachment from the world around them. The decision to go south in the winter suggests a desire to escape, but also a sense of displacement and dislocation.